Welcome to Flipped Classroom. Today's lesson is on the cause-effect essay. Whenever a question asks why, its answer requires you to discover the cause. A cause-effect analysis explores the relationship between events or circumstances and the outcome that results. There are three main purposes of a cause-effect essay. Number one is to inform. Number two is to speculate. And 3 is to persuade. In a cause-effect essay, you are trying to discover reasons for a particular situation. For example, why do babies cry? If you were to ask people why babies cry, some of the answers would be hunger, need for attention, illness, or a time to be changed. But you need to go beyond the why and use critical thinking skills in your cause-effect essay. The first step is to link situations and events together. Next, analyze the connection. This is going beyond the facts using critical thinking skills. And finally, predict what will happen. Once again, you'd make logical connections to draw the conclusion for your prediction. Let's say we have 5 causes. Political repression, desire to join family, desire to further education, desire for religious freedom, and desire for economic opportunity. These are the reasons that people would possibly immigrate illegally to the United States. So if you have these 5 situations, you can logically predict what would happen next. Some of the academic uses of cause-effect can be found in a history class. For example, what are the causes or effects of the Civil War? You could also use it in a science class. What are the long-term effects of acid rain? A communication class, for example, what are the effects of the telephone on modern communication? And of course, sociology classes frequently use the cause-effect genre. For example, what causes college students to drop out? And what are the effects of dropping out of college? Here are some sample academic topics. When working with cause-effect, make sure you note the difference between main and contributory causes. Even when you have identified several causes of a particular event, one, the main cause, is always more important than the others, the contributory causes. Understanding the distinction between the main, which is the most important cause, and the contributory, the lesser important causes, is vital for planning your cause-effect paper, because once you identify the main cause, you can emphasize it in your paper and downplay the other causes. How then can you tell which cause is more important? Sometimes the main cause is obvious, but often it is not, as this following example is going to show. Let's take the case of the Hartford roof collapse. During one winter a number of years ago, an unusually large amount of snow accumulated on the roof of the Civic Center Auditorium in Connecticut. The roof collapsed in. Newspapers reported that the weight of the snow had caused the collapse, but they are only partially right. Other buildings, however, had not flattened by the snow. So the main cause seemed to lie elsewhere. Insurance investigators eventually determined the roof design, not the weight of the snow, which is a contributory cause, was the main cause of the collapse. These cause-effects relationships are shown in the diagram. Another important distinction is the difference between an immediate cause and a remote cause. An immediate cause closely precedes an effect, therefore relatively easy to recognize. A remote cause is less obvious. Perhaps it involves something in the past or far away. Assuming that the most obvious cause is always the most important can be dangerous as well as short-sighted. So let's look back again at the Hartford roof collapse scenario. Most people agree that the snow was the immediate or the most obvious cause of the roof collapse. But further study by the insurance investigators suggested remote causes that were not so apparent. The design of the roof was the most important remote cause of the collapse, but other remote causes were also examined. Perhaps the materials used in the roof's construction were partially to blame. Maybe the maintenance crews had not done their job. If you were the insurance investigator analyzing the cause of this event, would you want to assess all possible contributory factors rather just the obvious? If you did not consider the remote as well as the immediate causes, you would reach an oversimplified and perhaps an incorrect conclusion. When developing a cause-effect paper, you should not assume that just because event A precedes event B, event A has caused event B. This is a logical assumption. We call it post hoc reasoning. It equates to a chronological sequence with causality. When you fall into this trap, assuming, for instance, that you failed an exam because a black cat crossed your path the day before, you are mistaking coincidence for causality. So, here's an example. If you drink coffee, then score 100% on a test, you can't assume coffee made you earn the A. You have to learn at other factors. Did you study the night before? Did you know the questions? Were you well prepared? So, do not jump to the conclusion that coffee is the reason you earned an A on the test. The following list of words are very helpful to use in a cause-effect essay. Also, be very careful with confusing the spelling of effect, which is a noun, and affect, which is a verb. Now, take a look at the writing assignment that you have for your cause-effect essay. You are to pick one character from the movie Crash and analyze the causes and effects of cultural tension on that character. Even though you're picking one character as your focus, you will also need to include other characters since, as the title suggests, they crash into each other, literally and figuratively. This essay should be between 1,000 to 1,250 words, including a works cited page. To begin with, you're going to need to look at the phrase cultural tensions. And what does it mean? Culture is not always race, nationality, religion. As you can see in the movie, it can be gender, it can be age, it can be class. There's a variety of types of tensions between people. On D2L, you will also have a sample outline that will help you prepare to write your essay. Make sure you take some time to look at the sample outline, which will clearly give you some guidance to get started on this essay. It is now your turn to use your knowledge of cause-effect in writing the essay on Crash. Best of luck with this assignment.